If you
Hi
hear,
Max, how
if
are
you
you
hear,
this afternoon? Oh,
oh, sorry.
we've got the lovely Lela Grayce with us, and we are doing a short author interview, and I am so excited to have her as she is one of our November authors of the month, and we are reading her fantastic book this month, and I am so excited that we are reading Crimson Horizon, first book of Blood of the Sea. So Lela Grayce, first question: Pirates and vampires set in the 1500s. What a crazy idea that just works. I absolutely loved this book.
Oh, thank
I
you.
read it and I just initially I was just like, what? And then I just went, wow. So tell me,
Right.
where did this idea come from?
Well, it's definitely something that you don't realize that you need, and then you read it and you're just like, this is what I've been looking for my whole life. No, so the idea came, so I co-wrote that series with my friend Heather, and we kind of wanted something to be historic, but also kind of paranormal. And so we were, I don't know, I remember kicking around the idea with her, and so we were like trying to think like werewolves, like what do you want to do and that kind of thing. And then we just kind of came up with the idea like really wanted like pirates, because I had just finished writing my second book in my fantasy series called Skyla, and I was like pirates and the water and like all that. I was like, I just wrote that, so let's just do this. And so she was on board with it, and then I was like, I think vampires, just because I think we had been watching Pirates of the Caribbean, and I was just all like, with the coin and like them being immortal and stuff, I was just like, they just don't drink blood, but they're technically vampires. Like they totally could be that. And so that's kind of where the idea came from. And so we just kind of put our own like little spin to it. And yeah, we wanted Lavinia to have like a big like dress on the front cover and all that kind of stuff. And it turned out really great. And we both, we're really excited to write it and happy that everybody loves it.
Yeah, no, it definitely did have that Pirates of the Caribbean cross Wuthering Heights sort of vibe to it.
Yes, it did. Mm-hmm.
As I said, I could in my head see her running through the field with the dress hiked up, and
Right, right.
it had some great visuals in there. And I know as we were putting together the TikTok, trying to find the right video clip for it, because in my head it had such a strong visual. Trying to find it was quite tricky, but no,
Yes.
it was great. I definitely loved how it went together. And then the Cliffy at the end of the first book, I was like, and
Yes. Yeah,
definitely makes you
yeah,
want to continue on. So
we totally thought about it too. We were just all like, let's, this is like, we knew how we wanted the beginning of the book to go, and then we knew how we wanted the end of the book to end on. And then we're like, and then towards the middle, like we'll figure it out as we like go along, because me and Heather are both kind of pantsers, and so we just were like, let's just go for it. And but I mean, coming from the beginning and then going towards the end, it was just like this, like just go adventure. And yeah, I think that the middle of the book, and then when we finally got to that end scene, I think we both had to like take a step back and be like, okay, no, it worked. Again, it worked. Totally
yeah,
worked.
yeah, no, I can definitely see where you're saying that you're a pantser, but it definitely has that action adventure sort of through the book, where you're hanging on by your
Yes.
fingernails through the
Yes.
book, hoping that as a reader, hoping that it'll work out. So no, I loved it. It was really,
Oh,
really great.
I'm so glad you loved it.
Um, you kind of brought up the whole different paranormal race thing. So it leads to my next question. If you had to choose paranormal race that you'd be, which one would you be and why?
Oh my goodness. I think that is like the toughest question because I mean, there's so many that you just love. I really just don't know. I'll do like, can I do like my top three?
Yeah, top three.
Okay. Let's see here. Probably being a phoenix. I think a phoenix for one would be just fabulous. Um, Always kind of have like that fascination with fire. Um, and I think everybody in like in the back, like lizard brain, like totally like back when cavemen were around and stuff like that, we've always had like this fascination with fire, and especially rising from the ashes and that kind of thing. So phoenix for one. This is a little bit off the wall, but I think that a griffin, I would just,
Ooh.
I think that would be so neat.
Yeah.
And I do have plans. I do have plans with griffins. So be on the lookout for future books. But griffins for sure. And I think probably the next one would have to be like some type of fae or elf, just because I love like the mythology behind it,
Yeah.
and the fact that like if you think of other mythological creatures and all this stuff, they're always like so tough and like brawny, and they look the part, but like fae just don't. Like they're very pretty, very almost feminine, and that kind of thing. But like there's some tough mothers there, and I just
They
love
are.
that aspect about it. About you always underestimate the pretty one, and
Yeah.
they turn out to be like the strongest. So
Yeah. Yeah, no,
that's
definitely. And the first two, there's not a lot of books out there about them. You sort of have to shift
no.
through the pile to find some Phoenix and Griffin books. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, definitely. If you can get on writing those, I think that would be fantastic.
Of course, I have in my young adult fantasy series. I haven't finished yet, but I have plans to. One of the twin races is it's kind of like a griffin, yeah,
Yeah.
and so yeah, we'll discover that in the fourth book. But no, it's gonna be really cool. I have it all worked up here, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
And then fae and elves, I just think that they're awesome. And it's just like I was telling my daughter because she is getting into that kind of stuff, and so she'll always ask me like for Halloween she wanted to be like a dark elf, and I was like, okay, what's a dark elf look like? Because I mean, like there's so many things that you could put out there, and that was what I was trying to explain to her. I was like, how do you see a dark elf looking? Because
Yeah.
I mean, it's open to interpretation, and I was like, whatever you want it to be, it'll be. And I was like, and that's kind of why I love writing so much, is because I can put that spin onto it and make it believable. And yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, yeah, because you're right. The idea, the concept of like a dark elf, it depends on where you come from. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you say dark elf, and I mean, I guess once again my age shows and where I come from, but I think of Drizzt as in from D&D many moons ago, and so, but then you think in more modern fantasy, and you think of Rysand from Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yes.
Or something,
Yes.
and so you've got a more feminine and accessible as opposed to the gruff and a more
Yes.
play sort
And
of.
like when she first came to me and said she wanted to be a dark elf, I was thinking like it was Norse mythology and like the dark world, Thor, like that's like my whole thing. And so I was just like, oh, dark elves, got it.
Yeah,
And then she was like, no. And so it was almost like she wanted to be a little bit more like gothic and like black makeup, and she just wanted to be like that serious, like, and I was like, and I totally understand, and I was like, that's cool, but I mean, you have to kind of explain what your vision is of it, because when people say like, yeah, dark elf, there's so many things that you can picture or see. So yeah, it was
yeah,
funny.
yeah. It's better than mine. Mine went as a '90s emo. So there you go.
Okay.
You want
She
my
totally went
rock?
gothic with it and stuff. I don't know how to pull up a picture, but I would if I could.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I can.
Okay, next question. What's the biggest highlight of your author journey so far?
Um, Probably when I went to PenCon in 2018. That was probably like the highlight of everything. I got to spend almost a week with fellow book nerds and that kind of thing, and I got to meet so many authors in person, including Jamin Eve. So I got to meet her, and so that was great. And I PA for Leah Stone, and so I was able to help her at her table. And I met Amy Bartol,
Yeah.
who is a huge inspiration for me. And that was just really fun. And I remember coming home and like my husband picked me up from the airport and I was just like, I almost like was moved to tears. I was like, I've never been in a place where like we all loved the same thing. Like you hear about like Comic-Con and that kind of thing, but you never really thought about having like a reader con. And so I don't know, the concept was I guess new to me, but I mean whatever. And so yeah, going there it was the best and I absolutely loved it. And then the next year I had a baby and so I couldn't go. And
Yeah.
then the year after that was COVID. And so, I mean, but that was probably the highlight. And then meeting all the people that I did and all the friends and especially Heather, because we actually started writing Crimson Horizon when we were on our way back. We flew together. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is the book conventions are just so everyone's on the same vibe. It's incredible. I understand what you mean.
It is.
Um,
It's so great. It's so
yeah,
great.
yeah,
Want to
no,
go to
Babe,
more?
yeah, yeah. Babe was my first one, and it was just so eye opening. I loved
Oh,
it.
I bet it
So,
was magical. It looked magical.
yeah,
From the
yeah,
pictures from everybody and that kind of thing. It just looked amazing. Yeah, I'm really hoping that I'll be able to come this year. I mean not this year, but this next one is what I meant.
yeah, yeah. I mean, fingers crossed. A couple of 18 months away, I think now, and borders should hopefully be down. So yeah, fingers crossed everything works out and you're able to join us. So,
Oh,
yeah,
I'd love it. I'd love it.
yeah,
Absolutely love it.
yeah. It was. It was a magical experience, and the next one looks to be shaping up even more. So, yeah,
I
no,
can't even imagine. I'm so excited.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Next question. What was your last 5-star read? Assuming you've been able to read lately in between
Yes.
your frantic writing.
I have been writing a lot. Let's see here. So my last read, I actually finished. What was it? The Camelot Betrayal by Kirsten White, and I love like her concept with Arthur and Guinevere. Like I just, mwah, chef's kiss. It's just amazing. And so that was probably my last one, which it was quite a bit ago. I did happen to read Demon Pack by Jamin and Everly. And I don't know if you know this, but I also PA for Everly.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so I was able to read Demon Pack, and that was
yeah,
another chef's kiss, right? It's always with them. They're just amazing.
yeah.
And then before that, I can't remember who the author name is, but I think it was the Song of the Forever Rain. And that one was incredible. If you haven't read it, I strongly suggest you do. It doesn't have a very like strong romance in it. There is a very like thin layer of romance in it, but the world and everything, like that is amazing. And that's what I aspire to be.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes the world building is just sometimes so much more
Right?
important than the romance.
Right.
It,
It's
it's
my
not
favorite
necessarily,
part
yeah,
and it And I think that when we were writing Crimson Horizon, I think that it worked out really, really well. Excuse me, because I am so like world building. I have to explain why these things happen. Like, oh, well, this and this and this, led to this, or, whatever. I have to be able to build that world. Where Heather, she's like, well, no, I don't need to answer that question. And for
Yeah.
her, but then for me, I did. And so when I think coming together, it made it everything kind of makes sense, and it made everything flow better and that kind of thing. And so it worked out really, really well coming from that part. But no, building for me is like it's my it's the best.
Yeah. Is it easier to write an individual novel or a co-written novel?
In what?
Is
Sorry.
it easier to write a novel by yourself or to co-write a novel?
It just depends. Um I find sometimes, like with a lot of the authoring things, like behind the scenes, not just writing, it's nice to have a co author because then you can split those duties with them. And so, they can kind of help you. And you can help them, obviously. But then when it's all on your own, then you're just like, oh, I have to do it all.
Mm.
Dang it. And so
And I
that's like
imagine
the
motivation as well would
yes.
be harder.
Yes. It can be really, really hard, but no, but co-writing with someone, it's also nice because you motivate each other and remind them and that kind of thing. And that's something that I kind of miss when I am doing solo things. If I don't have someone who's on the other end, like, where's the chapter, what have you been doing, then I'm just like, it's fine. I'm gonna watch another season of Criminal Minds, or whatever. It's
Yeah.
just it's nice to have that motivation, but also I do like writing solo. I like co-writing too. It's
Yeah.
just it's fun.
Different.
It is. It's
Yeah.
great. I love it. I seriously love it.
Okay. Um, you've got a new book coming out. Blood Arrow is the first book in the Forest Hood series, and it comes out November 22nd. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it? Because it seems a bit different. It's a mashup of a Little Red Riding Hood and a Robin Hood, but with a twist. It
Yes.
got me
Yes.
intrigued.
Yeah. No, it's so my friend Erin and I, we've been friends for years. I actually met her at PenCon as well. Um, but we have just been kind of talking, and then I think I sent a GIF, or she sent one to me, and it was Robin Hood doing something. And then we just kind of got on this thing like, oh my god, I love Robin Hood so much. And I was like, you have no idea how much I love Robin Hood. And she was just like, girl, me too. And so we kind of got onto this whole like thing. And then I was like, I always thought it would be cool to like, I want to read a story where it's like Robin Hood mixed with like another um like fairy tale almost. And I was all like, and the one that just like pops out to me is Red Riding Hood with the wolves and that kind of stuff. And it just kind of like built from there. We were just like, we could do that. No, we could do that. And so it just kind of, we kept talking about it and that kind of thing. And so then like this story just kind of came into being. And our main character, her name is Arrow, and she is our Robin Hood, but she has more of a Maid Marian kind of vibe to her, as she is in court and she's the ward of the king and that kind of thing. But then she also has this secret. She is an excellent archer, and she wants to be useful with that skill. And then it just kind of goes from there. But it turned out really, really great, and we're really excited
Yeah.
about that. So there is wolves, there is archery, and there is just, it's an enemies to lovers trope.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
that, yeah, that's great. The love interest, he is an alpha, and but he doesn't like Arrow, and Arrow doesn't like him. But obviously there's more to the story, and so they come together. It's great.
It sounds like you've got a strong, sassy female main character and
Oh,
a rather than stubborn alpha. So
oh yes,
I think it'll tick a lot of people's boxes there. So
I think so too.
yeah, I definitely think that it'll move up a lot of people's lists, and we will definitely be talking about it in our book group, debate book group.
Perfect.
So,
Oh, that's nice. Thank you so much.
we can't wait to get it on our shelves. Thank you so much for talking with us today, Lela. We have loved reading Crimson Horizon, and we can't wait to read Blood Arrow. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. Like, I'm so excited.
Yeah, no, perfect. Okay, thank you so much, and we will see you at Babe in 2023. Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.